The river continuum concept, introduced in 1980 by the researcher Robin Benoit, is what has generally been used to describe and classify natural streams. Using factors such as stream width, flow rate, and depth, it classifies river systems along a continuum, from first-order streams in the headwaters to stream orders greater than 6, typically known as rivers. The concept classifies biological communities according to changes in physical characteristics along the continuum. However, this concept was developed to describe an idealized natural system and does not take into consideration human-engineered flow paths or the interactions between time and space. Hence, a new concept was needed to describe material flows, biological communities, and change over time in urban systems. The Urban Watershed Continuum, developed by Dr. Sujay Kaushal and Dr. Ken Belt in 2012, addresses the limitations of the river continuum concept by analyzing the urban watershed through the lens of 4 dimensions. These dimensions are the longitudinal, lateral, vertical, and temporal aspects of the watershed and will be explored during this video. Urban development has changed the environment and the hydrological cycle drastically. As a city is developed, streams are put underground to make room for roads, homes, and buildings. This leads to a loss of natural first and second order streams, with replacement by gutters and storm drains. This map displays the loss of these first and second order streams, with blue lines showing streams that are remaining in Baltimore City, while gray lines showing streams that have been lost. The first dimension, or the longitudinal dimension, describes this urbanization of headwater streams. In the river continuum concept, forested headwater streams serve as primary sources of organic matter such as leaves, wood, and debris to downstream food webs. However, urbanized waters and stream channels are greatly altered from their natural state due to channelization and burial. Burial of headwater streams also has been shown to increase flow rates and therefore transport of organic matter and nutrients to downstream reaches. Although urbanized streams are still important sources of organic matter, increases in loading of carbon from storm drains, swales, ditches, and leaky sewers can result in downstream tributaries, which are more heterotrophic, more polluted, and more physically disturbed than natural forested streams. Shown here is the resulting discoloration between the water released from a stormwater outfall and the stream. This discoloration is caused by leaves that steep in the storm drain, releasing organic carbon and discoloring the water. Urban systems have many sources of organic carbon, from natural sources like terrestrial vegetation and algae to anthropogenic sources such as storm drains and sewage leaks as shown in this diagram. The resulting increases in organic carbon flows alter the carbon cycle of these urban streams. This has implications for water and habitat quality of downstream reaches. Water and habitat quality of streams is also affected by the urbanization of lateral sections of the watershed, which brings us to the second dimension of the urban watershed continuum. This dimension describes the lateral, or horizontal aspects of the watershed. This includes riparian zones, areas adjacent to water bodies, as well as any surface or subsurface area that laterally drains the watershed. Here we see an example of a functioning second dimension zone that retains vegetation and soil. When rainwater falls upon a watershed, it moves laterally both above and below ground. When it reaches the riparian zone, the vegetation acts to filter out contaminants and nutrients before the water enters the stream. An urbanized watershed greatly alters this process. For example, urbanized watersheds are characterized by an increase in impervious surfaces, such as roofs, roads, and parking lots. This changes hydrologic connectivity between upland and downstream areas of a watershed. The impervious surfaces change this connectivity by aggregating and transporting water across roads, into gutters, and through stormwater infrastructure. This increases the accumulation of watershed materials and subsequent underground funneling of these materials to streams. Besides the additional accumulation of material, urban stormwater bypasses riparian zones and therefore is not naturally filtered. This increased hydrologic connectivity results in higher flows during storm events. The blue line on this graph is an urban stream flow, while the pink line is a forested stream flow. During similar storm events, we can see that flows increase at a much higher degree in urban streams, which can have detrimental effects upon aquatic organisms that rely upon less flashy stream flow. Also, an urbanized second dimension contributes to increased material accumulation and discharge into streams. Here, we can see that organic matter, in the form of leaf litter, has been carried by stormwater over impervious surfaces into the stormwater drainage system. This organic material flows into streams at higher concentrations than in a natural system, changing the underlying energy availability of the stream. Finally, increased hydrologic connectivity due to an urbanized second dimension results in higher contaminant levels in storm drains compared to forest streams. The green bars represent forest streams while the clear bars are urban storm drains. Here, we can see that the concentrations of phosphate at the 3 urban sites are all higher than the forest stream phosphate levels. Storm events that greatly increase pollution levels in streams can affect aquatic organisms that are not adapted to such conditions. Water and contaminants in urban systems not only flow laterally and longitudinally, but also vertically. The third, or vertical dimension of the urban watershed continuum, involves the flow of water between streams and the ground below. Below ground, there lies a dense landscape-wide system of pipes which interact with groundwater. These pipes include sanitary systems and septic tanks, as well as pipes which supply our homes with drinking water. Sanitary sewage pipes can also be a source of pollution in the vertical dimension of urban stream water flow. Sanitary sewage pipes include numerous pipe segments that are easily disturbed and have poor seals. In some instances, very old infrastructure contains cracks and leaks. Even small local leaks can have large effects on water because of the high nitrogen and phosphorus concentrations in domestic sewage and the fact that these pipes are located close to stream channels. Not only can leaky pipes pollute water, they can also affect groundwater recharge. Similar to sanitary sewage pipes, infrastructure which supports drinking water sometimes contains cracks and leaks. In fact, drinking water distribution networks are under high pressure and so have typical leakage rates of 20 to 30%. One example of this type of groundwater-surface water interaction is the presence of fluoride in streams. Fluoride is added to our drinking water because it is good for our teeth. If fluorinated drinking water travels through pipes to our homes and through our faucets, then should there be fluoride in streams? No, but there is. At Gwynns Falls in Baltimore, increasing fluoride concentrations have been found due to leaking sewage and drinking water pipes. The fourth and final dimension of the continuum describes the change of the urban watershed over time. This can be broadly thought of as including landscape development patterns and the upgrading and degradation of urban infrastructure over time. Studies have shown that impervious surface area has increased in many metropolitan areas. As mentioned in the discussion of the second dimension, any increase in impervious surfaces can have a large impact upon urban watersheds. Patterns of intensification, urban expansion, and the fragmentation and isolation of natural areas are clearly visible in highly urban areas. In addition, as can be seen in this image, stormwater management has had a large impact on the landscape, fragmenting and altering it. Here are 3 examples of how watershed processes are degraded by urbanization over time. First, we can see an impervious surface, a large parking lot, located directly next to an urban stream. Any materials, natural or not, are likely to flow directly into the stream. Second, we can see that this urban stream is covered by another type of impervious surface, roads. This image illustrates how impervious surfaces can be physically located near streams. Another example from a highly urban stream shows the accumulation of metals. It is likely that different metals have made their way into this water through runoff and other processes associated with the large amounts of surrounding impervious cover. On the same stream, we can see an outfall which delivers a lot of pollution. While at this stream in a large city, a sign warns that urban streams are subject to pollutants and runoff. While humans clearly have altered streams, the trajectory of influence does not always stop after degradation. That is, we are capable of influencing a stream's trajectory back towards restoration. The inclusion of rain gardens in urban systems is an example of how functions of watersheds can still be retained. As this video demonstrates, instead of stormwater moving directly into streams, water enters rain gardens where it can be filtered by riparian vegetation. The urban watershed continuum is a critical tool for the understanding and investigating of alterations in watershed flows, fluxes, and flow paths, and the processes that link headwater impacts to receiving waters. This video illustrates that we are part of urban ecosystems, and once we have a better understanding of that interconnectedness, we are more fully equipped to restore the functions of our urban streams.